Okay. So, as you can see from the presentation, at OLA, we decide to follow the AQA specification. And within the AQA specification, we decide to follow the following topics. Okay, so first topic, component one. So component one is the physical geography paper. It is 2.5 hours long. It contains 3 physical topics: water and carbon cycles, coastal systems and landscapes, and hazards. All these topics are taught by Mrs. Goff. So Mrs. Goff specializes in the physical geography part of the course. The water and carbon cycles topic is 36 marks. Coastal systems exactly the same, 36 marks, but the hazards topic is slightly longer, containing 48 marks. But although the hazards topic is slightly longer, they all make up exactly the same proportion of the A-level syllabus, which is 13.3%. So overall, the physical topic makes up 40% of the final mark, the physical paper. And if we look at these topics in slightly more detail, so the water and carbon cycles topic contains obviously the hydrological cycle, all those processes that you would have learned about at GCSE, such as evaporation, transpiration, condensation, etc., how water moves around the planet. But within this topic, you also learn about how carbon transfers around the planet, transferring from biomass, from vegetation, from animals and plants to the ground and to the soil, and then back up to the atmosphere via water bodies as well, via ice or the oceans or streams and rivers, and how that has an impact on the biological components on Earth. Within this topic, you would also study features such as river formations, valley formations, how rivers are managed, the issues of flooding, and also how humans go about defending rivers and water bodies from flooding. Okay, so that's the water and carbon cycles physical topic. The coastal systems and landscapes topic, this contains the traditional physical coastal landforms that you would again learn about at GCSE: caves, arches, sacks and stumps, spits, bars, offshore bars, all those types of landforms. But it also contains information on other land formations such as salt marshes, sand dune formation, and some other ones as well that you wouldn't have done at GCSE. It also looks at how we defend coastlines, particularly from the threats of climate change through sea level rise, the different techniques, hard and soft engineering techniques, and where these are implemented both in the UK and abroad as well. The final physical topic is hazards. So this enables you to study in far more detail than GCSE the implications and threats of volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and other hazards to do with atmospheric hazards as well, like droughts, wildfires, and also tropical storms, and why tropical storms and droughts are becoming more severe and more frequent and more widespread due to climate change over recent decades. So the second component of the A-level geography is the human components. Again, this human exam is 2.5 hours long. Global systems and global governance, first topic. Second one is changing places. The third one is population and the environment. Each one of those topics within the human paper, again, makes up 13.3% equally, but the global systems and changing places topics, only 36 marks, whereas the population and the environment topic, slightly more marks, 48 marks. But overall, they make up an equal proportion, again, overall making up 40% of the final mark within that 2.5-hour paper, which is taken at the end of the upper sixth. So global systems and global governance, fascinating topic. It enables you to study in depth on how global organizations work, such as the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, key trading blocs such as the European Union, the North American Free Trade Agreements, the Latin American trade bloc, MERCOSUR, how they cooperate together, and the benefits countries gain by being part of a trade bloc. Within that topic, you also study a major multinational company, which is Apple, and we look at the impacts that Apple has had in the countries which it operates, both positive and negative impacts. Key countries which it's impacted are China and Northern Ireland, where it has its headquarters, sub-headquarters, and main operations. We also look at the Antarctica as a global common, some of the physical attributes of Antarctica, and again, the threats to Antarctica and how that has been managed by global organizations. We also look at a key trade war. So one of the longest standing trade wars ever to happen was within the banana trade, believe it or not. So we look at how countries who export this product, this commodity, and countries which import this commodity, how that has caused both problems and also huge economic benefits for those various parts of the world. Second human topic is changing places. So this topic, we look at philosophical and cultural dimensions of geography, which you won't have really looked at before, which is fascinating. So we learn about how when you physically experience a place through living there or working there, or maybe going to school there, gains you a stronger insight to a place rather than just viewing a place maybe within a textbook or within a photograph, and how that has how your personal experiences allow you to build up a more clearer picture of a place. We also look within this topic at how cities regenerate and re-image themselves in order to promote themselves, to encourage inward investments through businesses, industry, and tourism, focusing on particular cities. As you can see there, Amsterdam was hugely successful in re-imaging itself with that huge bold letter slogan in front of the Rijksmuseum, one of the most photographed monuments ever to be put in place within a city centre. We also look at other famous European cities such as Barcelona, how they've succeeded in re-imaging themselves. We then take a look at two contrasting case studies, one of which is our local case study, where we'll look at Abingdon and how that has been affected by media, both in a positive and negative way, and also how one distant place has been affected by both visual media and also literate media. So we look at Brick Lane as our key case study there, Brick Lane, which is in Spitalfields in London, and how that's been gentrified and regenerated in recent decades since it's had a huge influx from the Asian community, particularly Bangladeshi people, which is why it's been often referred to as Banglatown. We also finally look at population and the environment as a big human topic. So within this topic, we look at both infectious and non-communicable diseases. The key infectious disease that we look at is malaria, how that spreads, how it's caught, the symptoms you get from malaria, and how it is managed in certain parts of the world. And then we compare that with a non-communicable disease, as well as other non-communicable diseases. But the main NCD, or non-communicable disease, we focus on is CHD, coronary heart disease. And we try to understand why it's become a bigger problem in Western society and how Western countries seek to manage that issue. But there are obviously other aspects of the topic we also look at. So we look at the Syrian refugee crisis, which hit Europe around 2015, 2016, and the problems that refugees and asylum seekers face, as well as the ways in which countries within Europe have helped to manage this situation. So in general, both papers, the physical and human paper, contain questions of a large variety. Some of them are short answer questions, so those are 4 markers or 6 markers. There are also levels of response questions, so there could be 9-mark questions, which involve a bit more detail. And then finally, there are extended prose questions, which are 20-mark questions and require you to carry out a balanced and thorough evaluation on a particular issue covered in each one of the 6 main topics that you study. In terms of the third component, component 3, that's the non-examined assessments. So this is often referred to as the NEA. It's basically what used to be called a coursework. It's between 3,000 to 4,000 words long. So we're 20% of your final A-level mark, and it's marked out of 60. So as you can see there, students complete an individual investigation, which must include data collected in the field. The individual investigation must be based on a question or issue defined and developed by the students relating to any part of the specification content. So even if you wanted to study something that interests you, which wasn't a topic which we've selected, you could go about doing that as long as it's within the AQA syllabus. So the fieldwork we tend to go on at the end of year, at the end of lower 6th, and then you write it up at the start of the upper 6th form. So we've gone to Snowdonia in the past. We've done fieldwork in coastal regions such as Hurst Castle, Spit. We've done other physical field work involving factors affecting infiltration rates around Snowdonia and also in Abingdon. We've also done human field works, one of which was looking at how quality of life varies around Abingdon and why quality of life varies. And another field work that we also did was going into Oxford city centre and learning about how chain stores, how dominant they are in the city and how they shape the urban environment, or whether indeed independent stores are still important in the city centre, and whether they have a positive or negative impact on the urban area itself. So that's the field work. In terms of OLA result success, we've had fantastic success since I've been here. So I've been here 7 years, and we've pretty much succeeded in gaining 100% of students gaining A star to C every single year. Many students achieve the top grades of A star and A, which we're really proud of. And of course, as you know, we have one of the top records in relation to added value. So obviously we do a test at the start of the sixth form to look at your baseline, and we are very, very good at getting your value added up from your baseline level. So huge specific success in geography over the 7 years that I've been here. Skills that you are able to utilize and develop throughout the course. So obviously your analytical, your numerical analytical skills are built upon your ability to study and understand graphs, as well as extended text and comment on extended text. And also we obviously stretch your literacy skills as well. As you engage in 20-mark essay questions, you obviously have to write an extended prose. So very, very wide, varied skills that you learn. Future employability, it's obviously very easy to gain employment from a geographical avenue, not just because of the skills which you learn within the subjects. Obviously, many people go into careers in finance, accountancy, actuary because of your ability to utilize and deal with numbers. Many people also go into specific geography-related careers like town planning, city regeneration, environmental consultancy, are all growth sectors. So if you did want to study geography even further than A level at university, there are many, many avenues which it can lead to career-wise. So that's a little overview of the course. Hopefully you've gained a bit more of an insight than what you knew about before. I'm just going to stop the video now so you can have a chance to ask any questions which I